Hello, Curran here. Welcome to week 4 of the class. I gotta say, I'm thrilled to see all the student visualizations come in. You know, every time I see a new one, and imagine, these are new, brand new, never before existed visualizations of this data. So when I see a new one, I'm just so thrilled, and I really look at it and I'm like, wow, that's pretty fascinating. So excellent work, everyone. This video is the launch video for week 4. I'm going to go through these 4 items that we have for this week, one by one. I'll start with the week 4 reading and lecture. This chapter 6 is pretty good, pretty interesting. It sort of puts the marks and channels discussion into context, and it addresses some of the issues that come up with certain combinations of marks and channels. And also in this chapter, she really goes on and on about how you shouldn't use 3D unless your phenomenon is 3D. So it's a really valid point. There's this really cool concept of overview first, zoom and filter, then details on demand. And if you go to a data visualization conference, you wouldn't imagine how often people say this. It's like this mantra that's in this data visualization academic community. But it is a great mantra, so to speak, for designing visualization systems. It's from this paper, The Eyes Have It, by Ben Schneiderman. It's a seminal paper. I'd recommend taking a look at this paper, just skimming it. And please watch this part of this Tamara Munzner lecture. She covers basically the same topics as covered in the chapter. Also this week, I'd like you to focus on data sketches. This is one of my favorite works ever. This is really recent work from Nadi Bremer and Shirley Wu, and they've done these awesome collaborations where they work on projects. They start from data and some ideas, and then they do a lot of sketching, and the sketching is really what I'd like you to pay attention to here, because this comes into play with your project. And I just want you to go through each and every one of these months and skim through it. Open the page and then sort of speed read it and see, what did they do here? What's their process like? Because you can learn from their process, maybe even more so than the actual visuals here, and apply it to your project. And please watch this awesome talk by these authors who made this stuff. They gave this pretty recently at a conference in Boston, and it's a really nice talk, and it sort of shows their personality and their process in video form. So that was the week 4 reading and lecture. Let's move on to the sketch proposal. For this one, I put together a video, so please watch this video first. And this is about sketching a proposal, making the first draft of a proposal for your project. So of your 3 data sets, please pick one that you would like to use and develop your project based on. And by the way, if your 3 data sets are actually not that interesting to you and you found something better, that's totally fine to use. But if you do that, please make one of those data summary blocks, just like for those Find 3 data sets, and send it my way. I'll take a look and sort of just check if it makes sense to use that for your project. But I'm totally open to that. You can use any data set that you find, and you could even use multiple data sets and join them together if you want to, although it's a little more work. So this is about creating the first draft of your project proposal. And I've set up this template document. It looks like this. Data visualization project proposal sketch. Put your name there and the date. And I've filled in these sections with template text that you can delete and fill in your own stuff. First of all, the data. Please just, copy and paste the text from that data summary block that you made for this data set. And for a prototype, just put the image, a screenshot of your last assignment, which was to visualize your project, the 3 project data sets. Just pick that one visualization of the data set that you choose for the project. And maybe, copy paste the text and links from that README as well, and maybe embellish it a little bit, say what you found interesting about it. And then the questions and tasks part. This is really essential because you need to figure out, what are the questions and the tasks that you want to enable your audience to do or to ask with your end product. So please come up with a list of, I think I said 3 or more questions, like how does something vary over time? Or is there any correlation between this and that? Or are there interesting spatial patterns? Or, how many are there and how do they vary across, so and so and such and such? And then the sketches part. I'd like you to come up with some ideas based on the data, your knowledge of marks and channels that you have now, and the questions that you've come up with, and sketch out some, potential visualization designs, including the interactions. Like, let's say, you could have a line chart of this and you can select a certain point in time and that could feed into like a map or a bar chart or something like that. Sketch out the layout with maybe multiple views or maybe different variations of a single visualization that change with some interaction, like maybe selecting something from a menu or scrolling or flipping to the next panel, that sort of thing. So just sort of open your mind and try to think of cool visualizations that could end up being your final interactive visualization project. And then there's this open questions part, because with some of the data sets that you've submitted, there are some sort of rough edges and tricky bits to figure out, like getting shapes to match up or looking up external codes. So if you have any fear, uncertainty, or doubt about, if this can work out, put it in this section and just describe like, I'm not sure I can do this, this, and that. But, if you're totally confident that you can work with it, then just feel free to leave out that section, just delete it, it's fine. So there's a lot of text here, but basically fill in the document, come up with the tasks, that's a part of the document, brainstorm about things and then sketch the things that you've brainstormed and literally just, sketch it out on paper and scan it in or take a picture. And then write a text description of the visualization and the interactions you envision. Yeah, write a description of basically what you've sketched. That's important, so I can understand like what you envision for the interactions there. And then, submit a document like a Word doc or PDF. And this is the grading criteria. Pretty straightforward. There's 3 or more tasks. There's at least one hand-drawn sketch, and then there's an adequate description of the sketch. So that was the sketch proposal. Let's move on to the D3 Detox assignment. D3 is awesome, right? You can customize to no end, and you can put stuff on the web and share links, but D3 is actually a newcomer to the scene, and there have been other tools that have existed for a longer time that do data visualization, and also some newer tools that just do data visualization in a different way, and they don't require you to write code, for example, some of these. So I just want to give you a sense with this that it's not just D3 that's used to do data visualization. There are these other tools. So please try one of these tools. So take your project data set. I think this is a good opportunity to explore your project data set and use one of these tools, something from the Python world, the R world, the Vega world. Tableau is really nice too, and Plotly also. So these are all nice data visualization tools that are not D3, and just research into these a little bit. So what I'd like you to do is use one of these tools to make a visualization and then create a document and put an image or a screenshot of that visualization in the document and then describe what it is and how was your experience using this tool and how does it compare with D3 in your experience. And some notes. It's fine to reproduce the visualization that you made already of this data set, but it would be interesting to explore the data set a little bit more, try out different things, different encodings. And if you know of another tool, please let me know or post it in the Slack, because probably there's some good tools that I didn't put in the list, but I would like you to use a tool that's on this list for this assignment. All right, that was the D3 Detox assignment. Now let's move on to the DataViz portfolio video. Even though we've only done this for 3 weeks, you guys have created some amazing data visualizations. And you've actually, maybe you don't realize, but you've constructed a blocks.org profile that shows that you know how to do stuff with D3. And you could use this as a professional portfolio. So what I'd like you to do is make a video where you just open up your blocks.org profile and then click through each of the visualizations that you've made and describe each one. For making videos, I'd recommend this software OBS, Open Broadcaster Software Studio. And QuickTime is built into the Mac. If you have a Mac, you can use that. And if you want to make it a really nice and slick video, I'd recommend editing out the silences and the false starts. You can use a tool called Kdenlive for this, but you don't have to. Maybe it's too much work, And if you find another tool that works for you for the screen capture, the editing, please post it to the Slack, because there's a lot of tools I've never used, but they're probably pretty good. So use whatever tool you want. Start with your blocks.org profile, and then click through each of your blocks, and then spend a minute or 2 minutes or however long you want, just not too long, right? And discuss things that are interesting about the visualization. Discuss the data, how you came across it, or observations, things that popped out to you, surprises, like, oh, when I visualized it, I noticed that such and such, and I didn't know that before. New questions like, why is it like that? And any random information about your process and how your experience was creating this. And so then please post the video on YouTube. You can make it unlisted if you really want to be secretive, but I would suggest making it public so that people can see it, and you can put it in your portfolio and say, this is a video that describes some visualizations that I made. And it doesn't have to say in the video this is for the WPI class, blah blah blah. You can just say these are some things I've made on blocks.org because I like visualization. Consider it as a public presentation of yourself. And please submit the YouTube link as the submission, and please post in the course Slack channel and watch everyone else's videos if you have time. I think it's really interesting just to watch everybody's video and get this, everyone's personality comes out and get to know each other a little bit more. So that's what we'll do in week 4. I'm really looking forward to see what you come up with.